Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Harriet Creates. In this episode, I am turning some off-cut 3D prints into coasters. They are D&D themed because I am a nerd. Now, this was a big creative thing I decided to do on my birthday a couple of weeks ago. Instead of pouring the leftover resin into two smaller jugs and mixing, I decided to pour it all into one. It was a bad plan. I needed to use up all of the resin, hence why I finished the bottles into this big one, because I bought it a year ago and haven't used it. So after an awful lot of stirring, it then occurred to me that I really should separate it out. Also, I planned on, as you can see, creating little charms, big dice, little dice, and I wanted to add some colour. Now, these are all videos that will probably be coming out later as I finesse the sanding process, which I'll show you in a little bit. But yeah, here's me doing standing up, sitting down, all of the fun to try and get that resin mixed, and before making the solid decision to separate it, which was a good decision. Now, through the gloves, I do start to feel it slowly heating up, and this lets me know that the time that I have to work with it is starting to become finite. So, I have my little coaster mold. So there is a company called Mold that I bought resin from last year to make coasters. They are heat proof and just a generally lovely company, but the resin does expire. To try and eliminate the amount of bubbles, I dip the 3D printed little inlay inside things in resin and pop them in the mold. I also make sure to gently pour the resin in, to stir slowly. This is a time lapse, so it's very quick, but to stir slowly, making sure there's no gaps, and then setting it down and using alcohol to spray it off so there is no bubbles. Now, once they were dry or cured, I realised that there were quite a few gaps because you pour it upside down. So I filled them in with UV resin, but I did overfill them because I'm not very good at the kind of levelling off yet. So I had to do the sanding process. Now, from watching many videos about sanding dice, I assumed it would be the same. Starting with a 1500 grit sandpaper, I make sure to smooth all the edges and make sure that there aren't any sharp bits. And then we go to 2500 and then to 3000. So this is me working my way through all of the different grits, using water, and generally just taking my time to make sure all of the rough bits are out. As I slowly work round, I realised that it's actually quite dull. It's dulled the coaster that I am trying to make all shiny. This was infuriating. And at this point I hadn't got any Zona paper. So I had to kind of try and work around it. Now, someone had suggested, I think it's called a company called Magnus polishing thing. You can use it on cars to buff out scratches, and so I thought, you know what, let's give that a go. It was a birthday present. Many of the things that you are seeing me using in this video, including the sandpaper, is a birthday present. However, after trying all that, it still was quite dull and I was not happy with it, so I ordered myself some Zona paper off Amazon. Thank you, Payday. and then slowly went through, and it did work, but I think I need to buff out with the 3000 grit sandpaper a little bit more to get out some of those deep scratches before doing the Zona paper. My notes said to start with green, go through grey, pink, and then white, but to be honest, I just went through all of them in the colour order that is suggested on the packet, which I'm pretty sure is like green, grey, blue, pink. Like a cream, I think, and then a white. But going through them all to make sure I buff it all out. This took a shorter time than I wanted, and it does make it kind of shiny, but I think I want it to be more shiny. So I tried again with the Magnus polish. And it helped a little bit, but I don't think it's really solved the problem that I'm having. Even using it with the Zona paper a little bit, just to try and see if polishing it with it would help. I don't know, I've never used this before, so if anyone has any suggestions as to how to get it back to that like freshly resined shine, please let me know. Because I don't quite know what to try next, apart from going back and maybe buffing it out slightly more. But yeah, here is it in its current form. This resin coaster is a little bit of a test before I sand the dice. I want to make sure that I have the knack for it down, just because I know the dice are bubbly, but I don't want to make them worse. Also, a couple of the dice are gifts for friends, and so I want them to be as shiny as they possibly can. So if any of you work with resin and have a little hack for how to do that, please let me know. I would really appreciate some assistance. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.